March 5th, 2024. And our first order of business is me to get rid of this phone call. And roll call the members, please.
Jordan Brewer is absent. Grant Moeller absent. Dan Sheets.
Here.
Walt Minnick.
Here.
Andy Bailey.
Here.
Jeff Chanoweth.
Here.
And Chad Kobe.
Here.
And then Liz Stitzel is absent with Jay Moore here and Kat Bell. Okay.
All right, very good. We do have a quorum. Next item on the agenda is disposition of the minutes. Everybody received those electronically. Does anybody have any corrections or changes?
I move to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
All right, Grant with the motion and Jeff with the second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Do we have any old business?
No, we do not.
No old business today.
No.
Next, I will open the public meeting. Our first, or public hearing, our first hearing is application CC 2024-00047, docket 05-24-RZ. This is a rezone, and it's the Robin S. Black / Paul rezone for a parcel in Sedalia, Indiana, on State Road 26. Before we start, we are recorded this meeting and it is being broadcast live on YouTube, so if you do speak, we ask you come to the microphone so that everybody can see you and hear what is said. So we do need a record of this meeting. So, with that being said, would you like to take us through the staff report, Kat?
Sure. First of all, did everybody receive the copy of the email that was sent to us?
I did.
Oh, okay, I wanted to make sure because that got sent out kind of, I think, last minute there. All right. So, this is the applicant is Robin S. Black, Paul, and, requesting a rezoning of less than 5 acres of a, 19.929 acre parcel of land. So there's only a portion of this that she's requesting to, rezone. The rest of it would remain as it is, agricultural. So the petition site consists of a total of, like I said, 19.929 acres located on the south side of West State Road 26 between North State Road 75 and Railroad Street in Owen Township. The petition site also sits just outside of the west limits of the unincorporated area of Sedalia. The petitioner has a prospective purchaser for the entire parcel, but the purchaser wants to have his existing commercial garage on the front portion of the petition site, which will require rezoning that portion where the proposed commercial garage will be operated out of an existing agricultural structure. The purchaser wishes to leave the remaining rear portion of the parcel as A1 agricultural zoning district because he would like to have the option for building a home on it for himself and his family to reside. And then you can see a couple of the pictures there. So you see that only where that kind of bottlenecks down is where they're requesting from 28 to where that is to rezone. And then there's a picture below that of the site from State Road 26. So there are 5 criteria which the Area Plan Commission and County Commissioners should pay a reasonable regard to in evaluation of a rezoning request. So the most recently adopted, this is criteria 1, most recently adopted comprehensive plan. So the Owen Township future land use map in the 2012 Clinton County Comprehensive Plan designates this area for agricultural use with rural residential development for unincorporated towns such as Sedalia, Moran, and Cambria. Although the petition site is in an area designated for agricultural use, the petitioner is only proposing to rezone a portion of the parcel that is up close to West State Road 26 and is across the road from other properties zoned as some type of business. Furthermore, according to land use under Goal 5 and Objective 2, it states to rehabilitate blighted commercial and industrial areas. So given the petition site has an existing commercial agricultural structure that was built in 1964, was used at one time as a feed supply business, possibly, that's what we've come to the conclusion of, is becoming blighted and with overgrowth vegetation, and will continue to get worse as the structure is no longer kept maintained and begins to deteriorate. It would seem to be the type of area this objective was aimed at considering. The prospective purchaser wants to keep the remaining acreage of the parcel that is not included in this request as it is currently zoned A1 agricultural in order to build a house for him and his family once he has the commercial garage established here. Number 2 criteria, the current conditions and the character of structure and uses in each district. The requested B4 general business zoning district for this area seems fitting because the petition site is just outside the town limits of Sedalia rather than in the middle of it, and does have an existing commercial structure on the portion of the rezoning request the request is for. It is immediately across from access from a state highway, which is West State Road 26, and has a grain facility and some other business type across State Road 26 from it. Number 3, the most desirable use for which the land in each district is adapted. This ground is zoned agricultural and has an existing commercial building on it. The plans for the proposed use, a commercial garage, will also have to adhere to the standards in the UDO 505 that will enable this proposed use to appear to be a desirable one for this district. Those standards include, but are not limited to, no outdoor storage being permitted and no unlicensed or disabled vehicles permitted to be stored on the property outside the building. The only exception to this would be if a vehicle is waiting for repairs, but no longer than 7 days. The 4th criteria, the conservation of property values throughout the jurisdiction. The surrounding uses are mainly residential, but the required standards for screening being enforced and met, it will appear the property values in the jurisdiction would not be adversely affected to any greater extent than they are or have been. There is farm ground to the west that the person who is farming it has concerns that access to the farm ground will be eliminated if this proposal is approved. The owner would like to have some type of recorded easement agreement with the new property owner. Otherwise, we'll need assistance from us to have NDOT to approve their own separate access to the farm ground. And as you notice from the email that we received, the NDOT's not been wanting to grant that access. The 5th criteria is reasonable growth and development. So if this use is to become a permitted use, and if the standards are enforced and met, it would appear to fit this criteria. Given that that only a portion of the parcel is being proposed for rezoning, and that the remaining parcel will continue being zoned as A1 agricultural district, And the commercial garage activity cannot spread past that rezoning line into the portion that will remain as A1 zoning district. This use should somewhat, should be somewhat limited. So staff recommends approval and to favorably certify the rezoning application to county commissioners. Prior to the existing structure being issued a certificate of occupancy or any type of improvement permit, there must be an approved state design release provided since it is a change of use. Staff would also recommend that a timeline for the rezoning to be put in place for 1 year from its official approval to make sure that the state design release and approval from the health department for septic is acquired. If these are not able to be approved during the 1 year timeline, then the zoning should go back to A1 agricultural zoning district. The board might also consider asking the applicant to accept a commitment requiring them to put the access easement in a recorded form with adequate width for the farmer who uses it to continue accessing it as NDOT has been unwilling to allow the farmer to a separate access to the land behind this that is farmed and cannot be made to be a landlocked.
Thank you, Cap. Is there anyone here,
For me?
I'm sorry, I thought you were saying something.
No, I'm just trying
Is
to.
anyone here like to speak on behalf of this rezone? Or, representing the petitioner.
I don't know if he heard you or not.
Anyone here to speak on behalf of the rezone, the petitioner in particular? No problem.
Hi, my name is Robin Sue Blackpaul. I do have a couple questions on what Kat just described. I do have a question on that, but I've been trying to sell this property for a long time. It has been sitting since my husband died about 4 years ago. It was the big barn where he stored his toys. His dream at one point was to have a garage there, so when Myron got in touch with me, I was really happy to kind of hear that, because that kind of fulfills Sid's dream on having something there. It used to be a fertilizer plant. There's people in Sedalia that used to work there when it was a hog plant. It's not really done anything but just sit there for years before even Sid bought it. I know there's the right-of-way issue. I'm not sure exactly where they're talking about, but the property runs alongside, after that first part, along the railroad bed. And the railroad, part of the railroad bed is part of the property assigned. And then the rest of the railroad bed to the fence line is the right-of-way that's already designated as a right-of-way for the property. And then across to the farmland in the woods. There's an acre of farmland there. And then the woods, 16-acre woods. And along that fence line to that rest of the property is already designated as right-of-way. So I'm not sure what portion the new person, the farmer is talking about, if he's talking up front or if he's talking behind. But I would like to see it being used for something more than just falling apart. And I've had some offers on the property, but one wanted me to finance them, which I can't afford to do. And the other was a chicken farm, with me being responsible for any cleanup if they decided not to clean up or decide to fold the business, and I would have to deal with the mess. So I decided not to go with any of those offers. And Myron has made a lot of sense, and I like for it to go forward. I don't know if you had any questions for me.
I don't particularly have any.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Well done. Anyone else like to speak on behalf of the rezone? All right, anyone with concerns? Mr. Strong?
Hi, I'm Jeff Strong. We own the field to the west and south of the property. Primarily, our concern is when we purchased this about 20 years ago, we were under the impression that we shared access with Miss Black's property. Apparently, that is not the case. They have the only access Office 26 if this goes through, and our main concern is just maintaining access to our farm. And we're told to be here tonight and express our concerns. Thank you.
You're done?
Yeah, I'm Alan Dunn. I'm the tenant on the farm, the Strong's farmland. And I want to say right off the bat, I'm not against the project. I'm not here to be any kind of an impediment against the project. We are just really concerned that the drive coming off of State Road 26 into the farmland, that is the only access point currently for the farm. And it does go with Ms. Black's property. And so we were just, not knowing what the new owner had intended at the time or what that development might look like eventually. We just wanted to make sure that we were on the record as saying that is the entrance point, both for equipment going in and grain coming out at harvest time. And so we wanted to see what we needed to do to make sure that we could still have that access. I have reached out in particular to NDOT during the time of the construction project through that particular section of 26, and was told at the time that they were not willing to add any more entrance or egress points onto the highway through that section since there was one already established. And in fact, they went to pretty great lengths to improve that access point by lowering the grade of State Road 26 there to make that much less steep, which I appreciated very much. So it's in far better shape as an entrance point than it was prior to the construction project. So kind of hate to, it'd be a shame to not be able to utilize that, but mainly just to follow up on Jeff's point, we just wanted to make sure that we would continue to have access to the farmland.
Okay, thank you. There appears to me that there are two accesses there. I've been looking at the various imagery that we have on our beacon site. And it looks like there's poles in the middle of them,
So really, there's only one that you can really
That
use
could
with
go to the
equipment
field.
that has any length to it because of that pole.
and that would be the one to the west.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
Yes, as you're facing the property. Looks like we do have a legal drain under that as well.
I never stopped
No,
accessing it.
Okay,
I'm not saying that.
Right.
No, no, not trying to be negative here in any way at all.
Myron will have to make that commitment. We move forward that, he will be in charge of that.
are you interested in making that commitment and having it recorded? To allow the farm to continue to have access at the front of this property? So you would agree to doing that? Yes. Yes. That'll have to be written out and then recorded so that it's there forever. It looks like, looking at the old imagery, it was probably part of the farmstead to the west at one time. I don't see any other entrances there anywhere from 1962 up to today. So this,
There used to be,
House across there.
yeah, there's right there in that front corner. Yeah, I saw that in
in
this,
the middle, go down, there's like 2, 3 houses there. The main drive to the woods used to be behind there.
I did see
It
that
used to
in
be
the
split.
old aerials, yes. But with that no longer being there, any questions from the board?
I something that I think needs to be addressed. It's not a major concern, but the request is for the front portion of the parcel to be rezoned. And my problem with that is later on is how are we going to know what what actually is being rezoned, since we don't have a description of any kind. If they would specify that it's going to be, so many feet from the rear of the building forward, you know, to south to the road, that would be fine. But I think there needs to be some way for by the time it comes out from the commissioners and back to us, that we know where to draw the line. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to, I mean, if it's just the front portion, that's too
Well,
indefinite.
if they're saying 5 acres, so if you took the front 5 acres, so however that
You
would
could-
be,
you could-
that's kind of
Well,
how
it
I would
said
say
approximately 5 acres.
So I think we ought to
If-
settle on 5 acres and then make sure that that's,
That
how
would
much
be
they wanna
okay
go.
if the 5 acres is where they think it is.
yeah, that's what I'm saying, is we better make sure that that's where they need to be.
Are you purchasing all the way back to that notch in this front parcel?
wanting to purchase the whole, what, in the back, it's about 16 acres, there's 2.5 acres of farmland, the railroad bed, and then the front part. It like goes down and then ends, and they're right away, the rest of the way to the fence line, and then an acre outside the woods, and then 16 acres of woods.
So that, where we're talking about what I call a notch is approximately
Probably.
854 feet back. Is that
Yeah, according to
what I'm
Beacon.
seeing there?
Can I see what you're looking at?
Yeah.
This is what they're purchasing all the way back to here.
What is the rezone area? Is that from this
Yeah,
notch
from
here?
where that bottleneck's there.
Right.
All the way up
Right.
to there.
Okay, that's the assumption I had made on it,
Yeah.
but it's just.
Well,
an
yeah,
assumption.
so the whole parcel is this. I
Yeah.
think the notch that they're talking about is that guy right
Yeah,
there.
it's the one that's
See,
800 and some
that's the
feet
old
back.
railroad bed that rolls all the way through there, so.
Is that clarified
Essentially, their
enough, Jay,
access
or do we
is
need to?
If you're going to
Part of
go,
that description, maybe we,
there.
And this right now shows all wetland here. And
so they're gonna go beyond quite a ways beyond the building
Building, yes.
to where it narrows down to the railroad.
correct.
Yeah, I think that is sufficient that if you describe it in your motion as that you're making a favorable recommendation from that point south to be rezoned, I think that would be sufficient.
You mean north?
Yeah, north, you mean,
Okay.
yeah, he's
The
right.
south would be away from.
Well, I was going from the
Oh,
notch
no.
south, I'm sorry.
No.
Or you could go from the road north to this,
No. the-
Road south.
yeah.
Notch north,
But I
yeah.
can visualize what you're saying.
Yeah. I was going from the notch, then zoning it to the south road right away.
Okay.
Now, on that number, we've got what I think is 800 and some feet.
Beacon.
I'm not seeing it on my phone, which may not give the same information. I've got 1,900 or 1,091.
Fertilizer. I've got one of the advertising pieces they put out for fertilizer. The whole business back then. No, the guy started out, the problem, and when he started selling stuff, the bank told him to send him money.
Now, when I measured, I come up with about 1,100 feet.
Put him out of business.
I don't know what the 54 is.
It's just a I can remember
Yeah, unless you're the one.
buying feeder pigs when I was a little kid in there. Yeah, yeah.
I've been in Sedalia long enough to remember the lumberyard.
Yeah, along that
They used to go back
east
to
side
the
is
woods.
1,100 feet.
Pretty good squirrel woods.
Yeah, I've got 1,191
Which side?
on the, what I believe to be the west side on my phone
Okay.
anyway. I'm not currently showing parcel lines though.
Oh, I see where okay, I see. Here. So whenever I get up to here, this little spot here, I stopped and then I went on, and you can kind of see underneath my arrow there another 300, so
Okay, so
that
that's,
would be 1,100.
None of these people wrote it.
I've got, what is it? It's 1,091 feet. and Change. 0.03 actually.
That would be probably about right, because this one over here is like, looks like 1165 or something like
Yeah.
that, but.
Actually 1,091. Would that get the motion close enough?
Is
to
that,
Define it?
Yeah.
I guess we should ask the petitioner, is that kind of where that offset and goes back to the railroad? Is that all we want to zone, rezone? Is that right? And then okay. Yep, all right. I just wanted to make sure before we moved on.
So you are willing to grant the easement, get that in writing and recorded?
Now, he did call me today and ask me how he would need to go about doing that. I wasn't familiar with that. I don't know if Jay could kind of give an idea of how that would have to happen.
Well, it would be, he would have to execute what is a written easement. It'd need to be described, which might require a little bit of surveying work. I'm not sure. I don't know how quickly you can move from the entrance to the field.
I usually just go right in and turn right into the field, just to get off the highway.
So,
He usually does, right from the road down the hill and right there.
so
He's not going down the railroad bed or coming in off of Railroad Street. He's like right off State Road 26 and right into the field.
So I would think that you could probably just come up with, it needs to be its current location and then extend back and then to the east slightly so you have the right to turn and get to the field.
Yeah, there's like an old existing drive there, so that ramp down off of 26 goes, I mean, it's very obvious where I would go in, and I attempt to, there's another pole. Sometimes I have to go past that pole and turn in, and depending on how long the equipment is, and sometimes I can turn short ahead of that pole. But yeah, typically I just need to get off the highway to be able to turn right into
Yeah.
the field, yeah.
Perhaps if working with the new proposed owner on the rezone, you could go out, maybe get a measurements, 100 feet or whatever you need to come back to the south, and they can put that into that easement agreement.
I mean, as long as we can it can be drafted so that it's ascertainable, and Beth doesn't make life too difficult for us. That would be sufficient. It just needs to be something that, it needs to be notarized, it needs to be, describe it, and then that would be sufficient.
Here's, if you want to show him the road. It's that part of where the post is, and then he goes right into the field right there.
So basically, if you look on this picture here, she's pointing out that it looks like it's got two entrances,
It
but
does.
this one here is the one that drives all the way back,
No.
the one to the farthest west.
Yeah. There's a
And-
road that goes alongside the field, but he goes into the field right there.
Yeah. So that's this one here
Yeah.
that's farthest west in the photo.
And he goes right onto the property.
Okay.
So who has the responsibility for drafting that easement document then, or who?
I would think that, while it's an obligation of the petitioner, because he's agreed to it, on the other hand, it is a benefit to the landowner, the adjacent landowner. I would think the adjacent landowner should stand for the recording fees and whatever it takes to make it happen.
That's fine.
That's- yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that's, just wanted to do it by following the appropriate,
Yeah,
so.
I mean, just because the party who's benefiting should pay for it, is my thought. Yeah,
that's fine.
yeah.
Okay. Any other input from the audience? All right, we'll close that public portion and go to the board. Thoughts, motion?
I don't think there's a problem. I mean, looks like we're gonna get the easement resolved, so, I move to favorably certify the rezone, based on, getting an easement proposed.
The commitment,
Yeah,
yes.
the commitment,
And
which the
the,
commitment is here,
want to put a one-year time limit on that rezone?
yes.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the rezone, give a favorable recommendation to the commissioners with a commitment for the easement for the farm access and a timing of 1 year to have everything completed and in place, or that will revert back to A1 zoning. Is there a second for that?
Yes, I second it.
Jeff or Walt with the second. Roll call vote, please. When you're ready.
Was it Andy? And
Yes, I
then-
made the
okay,
motion.
Okay, and then Walt. Okay. Dan Sheets,
Yes.
Walt Menick,
Yes.
Andy Bailey,
Yes,
Jeff Schnauluth,
Yes.
and Chad Kobe.
Yes.
All right, the motion does carry. Now, this is not the last stop. This will go to the Board of Commissioners for the final approval for the rezone.
And I anticipate that to be March the 19th. We should have that all put together, and that's at 9 a.m. on March the 19th.
All right, thank you all. Any new business?
I don't have any, but I think Jay does.
Yeah,
And anybody that doesn't want to stay, you can go ahead and go. You don't have to stay.
we've gone through some of the judgments that we've obtained for the county in our enforcement actions. And we have one that's getting, a judgment remains a lien on real estate for 10 years. And this one's probably about 7 years old. It is a substantial amount of money. It was an enforcement action against Mr. Dunk. And we reached a settlement. He failed to abide by the terms of the settlement. The judge entered a judgment against him for $12,000 and provided that if he paid within 30 days, he only had to pay $4,000.
Seems like a fair deal.
And he never did that. So now we have a judgment that's been in place for approximately 7 years, drawing interest at the statutory rate for $12,000. And if we don't take action sometime, we will lose it as a lien on the real estate. We have the ability to enforce the judgment by taking it, what you do is you file a foreclosure action on the judgment, and then it goes, the sheriff will sell the property to obtain the payment. And clearly, this is enough property that somebody's going to buy it. I mean, the county would get its money back and its cost of these proceedings back. But this is the kind of thing that does get people worked up, and it's going to take lawyer time and out-of-pocket expenses for sheriff's sales aren't cheap anymore. You have to do publication And, you know, the newspapers now don't have any other ads, so those ads have gotten a lot more expensive, and, it would be, there'd be a fair amount of expense involved. I think it'd all be recovered, plus the money we're owed, but, before I go out and start tilting at windmills, I thought I ought to talk to my bosses and find out whether you want me to. I wish Jordan was here,
Yes.
but, we don't have to, you don't have to decide tonight, but I thought I'd bring it
Well, there
up.
is a third player in this now, which is the solar farm. They've leased a majority of that field. There are solar panels on it,
Oh, are there?
yes. So I would recommend we hold off till we have a full board.
There's solar panels in Dunk's portion?
Well, he owns the field that's there. I don't know if is the house split out from that?
Well, it's a lien on anything that was in his name alone. The property, the house was in his name alone. His wife has now passed away.
It looks like I've got two parcels there. I have a 39.10 acres to the south of the house, and then the house is sitting on 40 acres. But there are solar panels,
And that's Hardy Hills solar panels?
at least there's solar panels on the southern parcel. I'm not sure how far up they go to the north.
I'm surprised they did that with that judgment lien there. You would have thought they looked at title work.
Maybe they, I don't know if you can see that. I don't recall how close they are to his house, if they're on that 40 that he has there with the house on it or not.
Okay.
But there are definitely panels on that southern part,
On this part.
yes. And I think they go up to the house, actually.
Well, that also gives you another option, which would be to, instead of trying to sell his real estate, garnish his rental payments,
Yeah, it
which might be an easier way to go.
could be.
I wonder if he's getting lease payments now. Yeah.
I don't know, do you know if the lease payments have started?
Yeah, I'm sure they have.
I wouldn't.
'Cause they've-
thought-
As long as they've had that property captured of all of them, I'm sure they're getting
I
some
would want
sort of
something they
payments.
started
I would be
Really on
too. I
my
mean,
property.
I'm sure that started when the go-ahead. A lot of that stuff, they were getting anytime that.
They were
let
getting
that-
something immediately.
Yeah, because as soon as they idled all those acres from, especially tillable acres, you'd want some sort of income
Yeah, you have to.
on those. So, I mean, I would assume that he's been through almost 2 cycles of payments.
It seems like we've got a new development, and I think unless we're under a timeline, what time period are we talking about? Do we have 6 months to do this, or?
Well, I'd want to get it done before. I'm trying to clean things up.
Sure.
At my age, it's a good time to get things cleaned up.
I can understand that. Seems to me like maybe we should table this till we can do a little more research on just what has solar panels on it.
That's a good idea. I didn't realize there were any out there. I haven't been out there.
It looks quite a bit different.
Yeah.
They basically come down to where you saw that legal drain, the Slifer drain. They're not in that area, but they're immediately to the north of it.
And you think it goes all the way up
I
to his
think it
house?
goes all the way up and behind his house.
Okay.
That's just my recollection. I could be wrong.
I can make sure Liz, we bring whatever to
Yeah.
the next meeting
Yeah, we
that'll
we have the
show.
plans, so we
Yeah.
know exactly where they're at.
Yeah, Liz will have all that.
Yeah.
Is there a recommendation?
That's all I had.
Do we need to table that, or you just bring
Yep.
it up the next meeting?
We just bring it up next meeting.
Okay. Anything else?
We do have one filing already for, see, this is March, so it'll be April. April's meeting is safe, we'll be in here. be May's meeting, looks like we'll be somewhere else because of early voting in here.
I would recommend the new police station. They have a wonderful meeting room with lots of electronics,
Okay.
if they'll let us use it.
Well, first choice is we'll try for, we always try to get the city council chambers in Old
Oh, I
Stone.
don't like that room.
You know,
Feel confined, you're down in the basement,
yeah,
Oh, it's not that bad.
it's kind of cold down there too.
it's cold,
Yeah.
doesn't have two doors to get out of, big windows. Okay, next meeting will be April the 2nd, no, wait. Yeah, next meeting will be April the 2nd, 2024. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion.
Jeff and Walt. We have it, we are adjourned.
Okay.
It's nice having your experience real close here. I'll see you Monday night.
Yep, you will. You'll see me Monday night.